All right, if you're a Canadian business owner, you know this feeling. The news alert pops up on your phone. Another headline about U.S. tariffs, some new trade pressure, or just another big political shift happening south of the border. And that feeling in your stomach just drops, right? The questions start swirling.
And look, those questions, they're completely natural. For any founder, that kind of uncertainty feels personal. It feels deeply unfair. But what if I told you that focusing on fairness is actually a trap? Today, we're going to dig into a perspective that takes the power away from the politicians and puts it right back where it belongs, with you, the business owner.
So first things first, let's just acknowledge that feeling of frustration. It is absolutely real, and it is totally valid. I mean, when you've poured your entire life into your business, these external forces that you have zero control over, yeah, they feel like a direct threat.
But here's the thing. This isn't some new, shocking crisis. It's a consistent, almost predictable reality of doing business in Canada. Decisions made down in Washington, D.C. have always sent ripples across our supply chains, our access to financing, and even the way our customers think about spending their money.
And that right there brings us to the core idea of this whole explainer, a really critical mental shift. What if we stopped looking at this as a political problem to get angry about and started treating it as just another market condition we need to prepare for? Wow, this statement is so powerful. Think about it. It takes all the focus off the external noise and puts the spotlight right back on the foundation of your business. The real danger isn't the political headline itself, it's being caught unprepared when that headline inevitably shows up.
Okay, so let's really break this down. On the left, you've got the common view. It's reactive. It sees all this as some unfair crisis that just happens to you. But the strategic view, over on the right, that's proactive. It treats political drama as just another feature of the market, kind of like competition or seasonal demand. It's something you actively plan for.
So what happens when you start thinking this way? Well, something pretty interesting happens. It turns out that all this market uncertainty is actually a fantastic diagnostic tool. It acts like a stress test, not to create new problems, but to expose the ones that were already there, hiding just under the surface. And this is just so crucial to understand. A strong business doesn't just vaporize overnight because of some tariff announcement. No. What happens is the pressure from that uncertainty starts to reveal the hidden cracks in the foundation, cracks that were probably there the whole time. And here are the most common cracks it finds. Things like being completely dependent on the U.S. market, for example, or having a really fuzzy grasp on your cash flow, keeping messy records and documentation, or, my personal favorite, chasing that crazy growth at all costs without building the discipline and the structure to actually support it. Do any of those sound a little familiar? But here's the flip side. That exact same pressure that exposes all those weaknesses, it does something else too. It rewards the quiet businesses. You know the ones. They're not flashy, they're not making big headlines, they're just built on a rock-solid foundation. They're the lighthouses that just keep shining through the storm. To really hammer this home, let's picture two different businesses. They're in the same market, facing the exact same political storm, but one is built on some pretty shaky ground, and the other one, well, it's built to last. The source material is crystal clear on this. The businesses that make it through aren't necessarily run by smarter or more ambitious founders. The real key, the differentiator, isn't talent. It's the underlying structure. It's the preparation. It's all about the foundation they built before the storm ever hit. And you can see the difference right here. The weak business, it just waits. It reacts with emotion only when the pressure's already on, and then of course it struggles. The strong business, on the other hand, is already asking those big strategic questions. It's prepared for uncertainty as a rule, not an exception. And because of that, it moves through these tough times with a sense of calm and control. So the big question is, how do you become that strong business? Well, it all starts by replacing that knee-jerk emotional reaction with a few really good strategic questions. Because honestly, the most damaging thing you can possibly do when the market gets shaky is to panic. An emotional response that leads to short-sighted bad decisions, but a strategic response that leads to long-term resilience.
And these are the questions you need to be asking yourself, like right now. First, where are we exposed? Is it one key supplier, one big customer, a single source of funding? Second, are we bank ready? If we needed a loan tomorrow, is our paperwork clean, compliant, and ready to go? Third, do we really understand our numbers, our cash flow, our margins, our break-even points? And finally, is our legal and operational structure solid enough to handle real scrutiny from a bank, a buyer, or even the government?
So this all boils down to one final and I think really empowering idea. It's about focusing your energy where it can actually make a difference.
Let's be really clear about this. You cannot control what happens in another country's capital. You have zero influence there. But what you do control, 100%, is the strength, the structure, and the preparedness of your own company. That's where all your power is.
And that brings us right back to the beginning. Those political actions aren't your personal problem to solve. They're simply the weather. They're the terrain, the environment you're navigating. And in any environment, whether it's perfectly calm or a total hurricane, the winner isn't the one who complains about the weather, it's the one with the best strategy to navigate it. So the question is, how's your strategy looking?